Alright, super sport motorcycles. They are fast. They are fun. They are the coolest thing on two wheels, and some of them can be unbelievably powerful. But, and this is a big but,
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
are super sports practical? Now, this is going to be a question that stems from the responsible, rational part of your brain. Those thoughts are going to creep in, and they're going to want to deter you from ever throwing a leg over one of these cycles. But do those thoughts have any credibility should you listen to that part of your brain? Well, that's what we're going to find out today, and so the only proper way to do this is to jump on this super sports cycle and rip it around the whole city in every environment that I can find. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do right now. Let me go gear up, we'll hit the streets, and we'll figure out if one of these super sports has any business in your garage. And my name's Micah, welcome to the channel.
All right, baby. There is our beautiful stallion right there. So I suppose we'll crank her over. I guess we have to. And our specific bike is going to be a 2010 Honda CBR600RR. It's not going to be the biggest, baddest, fastest super sport out there. It's about in the middle of the spectrum, but it is going to work great for this video today. Well, all right, here goes nothing. Now, I do have a route planned out for us today. We're not just going to completely wing it. Most days we do. So our first stop today, where we're headed up here, is going to be O Street. So that is just the main strip right through the center of town. We should see some heavier traffic there, and that'll be a good spot for our first little jaunt. But it should be fairly tame through the middle of the afternoon. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. All right, so in town, in the city, in your classic metropolitan environment, how practical will a super sport be? Well, so our specific 600 here, very, very practical, I think. You know, once you get up to the thousands and some of those larger sport bikes that are geared so tall, just that alone, just your tall gearing is going to be a little bit unwieldy, feel a little bit different when you're in environments where your speed is going to be 25 to 40. But your 600, your classic, really just middleweight super sports are going to feel at home. They'll feel comfortable in the city. So, and there's going to be a few things about the super sport that are just really practical, I think, for a city environment. The first one, the bike is just so light, right? It's so maneuverable. It's just very easy for you to get this motorcycle to go wherever you want it to go, you know, compared to some of your other standard and cruiser style motorcycles. You get a nice exhaust on your bike, you know, that people can hear it, and it just sings as you ride around the whole city. I think there certainly is a safety factor to that, you know, kind of the loud pipe save lives mindset. I don't know, people disagree with it. I think it's talked up a little bit more maybe than it should be, but I am the person who has absolutely been on a sport bike with a factory stock exhaust. It was very quiet, and I've been right next to cars that just tried to change lanes right into me. And if I was on a screaming bike like this that had a little volume to it, I know that wouldn't have happened. There's no way it could have happened. So I think once you open these things up with an exhaust and let them sing a little bit, you know, I think there definitely is a safety factor there. Now, something I will say is that a super sport motorcycle, when you're in town, when you're going these lower speeds like we are today, they're a little bit less comfortable than if you were out on the highway. And the reason I say that is because you've got this forward lean on you as you sit on this machine. So having a little little wind, you know, kind of just you work as a sail against that wind. And so that wind against your chest is going to keep a little bit of weight off your hands. So around the city, if you're not going blistering speeds, yeah, you'll feel a little bit more weight on your wrists, but it's not unmanageable. It's not like that has ever been a factor in my decision of if I'm going to take my Super Sport or a different motorcycle as I go for a cruise in the city. Now, some other perks, some other things you really notice on a Super Sport in this kind of dense traffic city driving, my brakes and suspension. I mean, I literally have a race bike here, so of course, oh, there's those boys. So of course my brakes and suspension is just gonna make me feel incredibly confident. You know, I could stop in a split second. I've got good suspension that gives me good traction, good stability as I'm cruising around. The Super Sports aren't gonna feel nearly as kind of like floaty and airy and bouncy as some of your cruisers and other bikes that have a less aggressive suspension system. So sure, you can be on your cruiser and it feels like you're still sitting on your couch. But is that really the reason that any of us buy motorcycles? To feel like we're sitting on the couch? No. No is the answer. Whenever traffic stops really quick like that, I always kind of try and pull off a little bit of the car in front of me to the right or the left. So if people behind aren't stopping, you know, I won't be the meat in the sandwich. Well, I put on a leather jacket now in this slow traffic sitting in the sun. Even though it's 60 some degrees, I am a little bit warm. So speaking of warm, that's another good thing to discuss on these Super Sports. So our whole bike has these fairings all around it, like all of your Super Sports classically do. So those fairings all around the bike here, they really just hold in all the heat. So you're kind of sitting on a hot pocket here when you're stuck in traffic on these things. And some people seem to whine and complain like, oh, my bike's so hot. It is literally the same temperature as the sand on a beach on a hot sunny day. So if a beach in paradise is going to be too warm for you, yeah, a Super Sport cycle probably is as well. Well, and so I kind of realized something just cruising now, and so I'll backtrack just a little bit to go back to that gearing. You know, your tall gearing, at a certain point, it becomes impractical, right? And I would say that the leader bikes are crossing that point when you get to a city metropolitan environment. But like our 600 here, and really, I mean, every Super Sport you can say has taller gears than a comparable cruiser, dual sport, naked, standard. But those taller gears, you know, to a certain extent, do make your cruising in town pretty carefree. I mean, you don't have much to think about because you don't really have to shift in town once you get to second gear even. Like on our bike specifically, second gear, I can cruise at 25, I could cruise at 45. So I guess that's kind of nice about the Super Sport, the sense that you don't really have to like hunt for gears. Oh crap, I totally forgot. It is a home football game today. Ah, crap. Well, I maybe made the worst decision ever by coming downtown. The Sea of Red, they call it, here in Lincoln, Nebraska, your capital city where that football stadium is. And if you haven't gathered it yet, I don't care about football whatsoever. It's just not my thing. So yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the game or what day or what time that was. Well, it's just a better test for dense, slow-moving traffic on our Super Sport. Now, if you've kind of seen it, as I'm cruising through these slower metropolitan areas, you know, downtown, stuff like that, I always kind of take my left hand off the handlebar so I can put that on my leg. You know, I kind of sit more straight up. Finally, we get to get out of all this nonsense. Little bump right there, and now we should be good. Now there is no room for error right here because these guardrails are only 3-4 foot tall, and it is about a 40-foot drop. On the other side, if you fly over the rail, that is your last day on Earth. Now, once you get out to the highway, oh, you get some wind on you. I literally have no weight on my hands now once you get past 70. And this thing is just planted. It is so solid, just smooth as glass. Oh my goodness gracious. Kind of get off the bike a little bit. We'll jump over to our turn lane. Now, getting to the interstate and to the highway, you know, wind protection, well, we do have this nice little windshield there. It will protect our head as we are at full speed if we have our chin right there. Outside of that, those little windshields don't really help you. Alright, tuck down on the entrance wrap. Just give her the beans! Oh yeah, we are coming in hot. We gotta find our place. Oh, that sound as we went through the tunnel. It's just deafening, the sound of our motorcycle in the best way possible. Oh, come on, people, give this pony some room to run. For sure, we'll slide over here, and it's kind of a hurry up and slow down day, I guess. We're just gonna go right here. Like, yeah, I try and find any way to get to the front of the pack. I mean, truth be told, cars are gonna be the reason that I die on these things. So you just gotta stay ahead of the cars. Get yourself away from those steel tanks, because those are what's gonna get you. Come on, give us that green light. Give us that green arrow. I guarantee there's people behind me that are just furious, and I don't want to look at them. Well, so highway, freeway, capabilities, and ability. Well, yeah, considering that super sports were designed for the racetrack, yeah, they do all right at higher speed. Tire sizes, the suspension, the brakes, the geometry of the bike. It turns out racing machines are good at racy type activities. And also, we're like your cruiser style motorcycles, you know, say some big Harley, for instance. With speed, those get very lethargic and very hard to muscle around, whereas your super sport with speed, it will still just dance like it's on rails. Yeah, the kids do love the super sports, that's for sure. Just like I did as a kid. I remember the first time I saw a pair of crotch rockets just racing down the highway. That was the coolest thing that I had ever seen. And look at me now. Ripping around on all kinds of motorcycles. Alright, give us that sweet green. This baby wants to sing. Not all in, you know, the spirited acceleration. But yeah, you get to these super sports, you don't even have to be giving it all the beans. They're just so light and so fast that, you know, even 50% throttle all the time, you are blazing everywhere. You jealous. Oh yeah. I say jealous. He's in mixed emotions. He's like, I really wish I had one of those. But at the same time, he's like, that boy better never talk to my daughter. And so to that, I say, well, maybe it's best to let your daughter be the judge. Little baby wheelie, but we can't be doing that. There was nobody in front of us, and so I elected that was the best decision for me. Alright, so we've done kind of the dense traffic metropolitan. We hit the highway, so now we'll just try and find some roads that have more curves and more turns that we can really just kind of explore the agility and the capabilities for the handling of super sports. All right, we got two cars at the stoplight. So this is always the gamble, the old coin flip. Which one do I think is going to accelerate faster off the line? I'll take Whitey. Come on, Whitey, I'm betting on ya. Oh, Whitey's gonna turn off, so we still win! Woohoo! Alright, the Corvette. I wonder if it's an old guy or a young guy. It's Corvette, so 97% chance they're over 80. Is he 80? Okay, he's like 70. That's close enough. So we'll keep a little gap here. Yeah, we don't have too much traffic behind us, so we can afford to do that. Warm up the old tires here, and then you kind of just fly into these. Some of them have low traction. Yeah, there's dirt all over the pavement here. Golly! Sloppy construction people spilling all their dirt on my roads? This is preposterous. This is unacceptable. I'm gonna find somebody and I'm gonna complain about this. It could be the cashier at the gas station, but somebody is gonna hear about this atrocity. But yeah, agility, maneuverability is just insane on a super sport. I mean, it is just insane. That's the perfect word. If you have ridden a dual sport or a cruiser, a naked, big bagger touring bike, once you get on a super sport, oh my goodness. And we've all seen those pictures or the footage from the MotoGP racers who are like literally dragging their elbows on the tarmac because they can get these things so low, just ripping corners. And yes, I'm frequently an elbow dragger myself. Oh, that's a total lie. Alright, so I'll start this. I'm kind of on the right edge of my seat. I go down, right knee is down, then I switch. I pivot over to my left. Ah! So when you're on a motorcycle, this motorcycle is 410 pounds. And so my 150-pound body on it, it affects a 400-pound cycle much more than it affects a 900-pound cycle. You feel like Superman on this. But like I was saying, when we were cruising through the city and downtown, that heavier traffic, that they're so agile, you know, they're light, and so there was a safety factor I highlighted. But let me highlight that again. If you need to get out of the way to avoid a collision, to avoid death, your best chance for that is literally on a super sport cycle. Oh, yes, baby. Man, that feels so good. You just feel those G's in the corners. You feel that suspension compressing. Oh my gosh. Man, that It'll make you feel alive, baby girl. Ow! Get it to me! Okay, I get way too carried away on super sports. When I give them the juice, when I kind of give them a little bit more throttle, I start talking kind of crazy. And you might think, oh, he just does that for the videos. No, that is all day, every day, because there is just such a thrilling, such an exciting factor. You get on a super sport, there is nothing else like that. I would say it is minimum 10 times more thrilling to be on a fast bike versus a fast car. The sound, the feeling. Now, continuing this whole practicality debate and argument, how practical at just commuting, getting yourself from point A, point B, is a super sport cycle? Take the cycle that we're on, for example, this Honda CBR600RR. Maintenance intervals are the same as all your other cruisers and bikes. Doesn't require any extra time or money there. You can get a Japanese brand super sport, and it is the most reliable cycle you could ever possibly buy. I think it has to do with what they were designed for. Okay, so I mean, all this inspiration came from the racetrack. And how do things get driven at the racetrack? Well, very, very hard. They are at full throttle and they are just way up in your RPMs the entire time. So think about the durability and how reliable these things have to be to sustain that, to stand up to that style of driving and that style of riding. So these babies will take a beating and not think twice. Oh yes, get those RPMs just tickling my ears. Ah! Man, and from owning a lot of different motorcycles, that literally has been my exact experience, that the super sports are just built the most heavy duty, they're the most durable, they're the most reliable, they're able to stand up to the most abuse. And that is something that a lot of people do not, I would say most people in their reviews of super sports do not highlight. Oh man, that just creeps up there way too fast, or not fast enough, depending on how you look at it. Lady was very skeptical of me. You saw her like do a triple take. So I went nice and slow around her. All right. Wow. Ripping around, coming around. Watch out. Little horn honk. Oh man, you just carving around some roads and stuff with a good clip, feeling all that wind, you get the sunshine out. Boy, I can't even think of anything that I would rather be doing right now. So hopefully today has been enlightening in the sense that maybe now you've gotten to see just how practical a super sport style bike can be in all different environments. Well, and here to finish it out, you'll see it on a rutted out gravel road. Isn't that fun? Confidence is not great on the super sport when you're on a rutted out gravel road. Fierce. His license plate is fierce. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Guarantee he's just looking at our motorcycle right now. Should we try and catch him in the act? Oh yeah, I caught him in the act. Well, I bet he don't feel so fierce anymore. Oh, that's goofy. That's only the millionth time I've said that today. Oh, yes! Oh, man! I'm sorry about that, folks. I realized that. But, dude, I love it. I love the experience. I like riding these things. Home, sweet home. Well, that was a ton of fun. So we gotta wrap this up somewhat quickly so I can jump back on this bad girl and keep shredding. So are the super sports practical? Well, you heard all of my points as we were ripping around in all these different settings, different speeds. You know, I tried to go through all the pros, you know, any cons that I could think of that we'd come across. So I'm not gonna beat a dead horse like you heard me the first time. So in wrapping up, I'll kind of just address the opposite opinions that are out there that we've all heard. You know, people saying that super sports are uncomfortable, that they're dangerous, that they're expensive. So it's perfectly comfortable for what it is, for what it was designed for. So let me kind of get you thinking in the same mindset that I am. Let's take one of our brand new leader bikes, you know, any brand, something that's over 200 horsepower, just a straight missile. Now imagine that motorcycle with handles that are nice and high, your back is straight, it's got a wide saddle. Do you think that there's any possible, plausible way that you could hang on to that thing if you were sitting straight up, stretched out, sprawled back, as that's, you know, a machine that can run a blistering quarter-mile and peel your face straight off? Well, let me just tell you, no, you wouldn't be able to hang on to that thing. Maybe you could for 1 or 2 pulls, but if you were in a position like that, on a 200 plus horsepower motorcycle weighing around 400 pounds, it would throw you right off the back as soon as you grab a wristful of throttle. So there's a reason that these things sit like they do. So factoring that in, there is no possible other seating position that these motorcycles could have. Any other seating position and style besides this on a motorcycle that weighs that with that much horsepower, it's not doable. It's not feasible. Second point, second negative thing that everyone has heard that people say about super sports is that they're dangerous. Well, so no, they're not. It's actually the most maneuverable, agile cycle style that you could possibly own. There's going to be situations that you encounter in traffic to where the best brakes are going to save your life, where the most brutal acceleration is going to get you out of the way in time, where the best handling is going to get you away from a bad scenario. So yeah, people say it's dangerous. No, it is the safest style of street bike ever. The only thing that's dangerous is a careless person. And a careless person, whether it has to do with motorcycles, with cars, with fireworks, with sharp objects, that's what's dangerous, not a sport type motorcycle. Well, and then lastly, that people always say, oh, crotch rockets, sport bike, those are expensive. They're just as expensive as every other style of motorcycle of all time. Like maybe once you get into high-end, niche, you know, very high performance European motorcycle offerings, but that's the nature of the beast. That's like complaining that a Porsche is more expensive than a Toyota. Like, yeah, it is. But you could get a smaller engine size, used sport bike. Just take the one that we were riding, for example. This is a 2010 Honda CBR600RR, and as this sits with the miles it has, you could go out and buy this bike today for $5,000. But to say that just super motorcycles in general as a whole are expensive, no, they're the same price as every other motorcycle. So summarizing everything,
all up, sport bikes, very good. Very good for everyone in a lot of ways. Ain't no reason to hate on this style of motorcycle. So comment if you guys have any questions at all. Otherwise, like the video if you had fun today, and subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time.